Hello everyone, this is Swati Naraganti, a writer at Tozu. And today the theme of our interview is like to gain insights and guidance from our leading scientist. So we have here Dr. Pranav, who is a leading scientist in the world currently. And thank you taking your time for us giving a talk today, sir. I'm really fortunate to have this talk with you and to learn experience from you, sir.
Thank you, Swati, for the invitation and for having me on your platform.
It's really our fortunate, sir.
I will be
Sir?
yeah, yeah. I will be happy to share my experiences and adventures.
So, can you briefly say about your background and introduction and what inspired you to make your career as a scientist rather than having various types of fields?
Uh, 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 Thank you. Basically, I'm from Bihar, and I'm from the village where we didn't had all the resources available at that moment of time. So my preliminary education has been it was in the school, primary school, and the government school. And after my graduation, I have been shifted to Patna, and there I have done my post graduation in biochemistry. And then, on the basis of competitive exam like CSIR, GATE, I have been selected in the IIT Madras for PhD. There, I have joined Professor Mukesh Doble lab for my PhD in 2006. And that time, my work was mainly on the phytomolecules, phytochemical, and the commercial drugs synergistic activity in the case of diabetes mellitus. Uh, so this was my education. After my post means PhD, I have joined a lovely professional university as an assistant professor, and currently I'm professor and heading one of the department at research and development cell.
Okay, sir. It's really a great journey from Bihar to NW Professional University and to be a scientist. And moving ahead, like what does it take to be in the top 2% of a scientist in the world, sir? What does it take?
Uh, So from last 3 years, I have been in the list, which is normally released every year in the September-October month by Stanford University. There are a
Okay.
number of lists, but this is one of the most prestigious list among the scientific community. This list is normally based on your publication and their citations. So obviously, everyone feels happy because this list roughly comprises almost more than 1.5 lakh scientists throughout the world.
Okay.
And so minimum 5 publication is required to be evaluated for this list in the Scopus. So once you will have the minimum five Scopus index paper, your profile will be selected for the evaluation purposes. And then depending on every different type of paper have different weightage, like if you are having single authored paper and how much citations you have got on your that particular paper, not self citation. And then how many paper you are corresponding author, how many paper you are having first author, how many authors are there. So different papers have different weightages. And at the end of this one, they are going to calculate the citation index. This citation index is having 5 value, means five scale is 0 to 5. 5 is the highest. And then they arrange it on the basis of in the decreasing order. So
Okay.
5 highest who will be on the top, and then it's slowly going down. So this is the criteria. So minimum 5 paper is required to be evaluated.
Okay. So does this also require citations, number of citations from the previous to the
Yes.
current? Okay.
Means your whole citations for those papers will be taken into the considerations. So different citations have different weightage. Like I'm having the first authored paper, and that is going to be cited 10 times. That will
Oh,
have different weightage. And I'm
okay.
having another paper where I'm the co-author, and that has having 10 citations. So that will have a different weightage. So
Okay.
different types of author, depending on the authorship positions, you'll have different weightage for the papers.
Okay. It's really insightful, sir, now. And we usually have a stereotypical image of a scientist. Let's say if he's a scientist, he will be working in a laboratory or in the instrumental side. So we would like to know what are the other types of scientist roles and responsibilities, like other than the laboratories. Can a person be also
Uh,
scientist who is not under laboratories?
yeah. Yeah, it is not that a scientist role is only confined to the laboratory scientist only, and because Only lab does not have the sciences or the research. Research
Yes.
can be outside lab also. So the those who are involved in the research, so scientists normally engage in different type of activity like data analysis, writing research papers, grant projects, then teaching also, mentoring students, postgraduate, graduate students, uh, as a speaker, as a different type of different roles in the conferences, workshops. So all these are part of the scientific job normally. So field work, then sometimes we are also associated with the policy making, either for the university or for the government or for different agencies. When we are talking about the different type of scientific cadres, scientific classification, normally we are having what we are seeing, it will have a different category.
Okay.
Scientist C, scientist D, scientist E. Normally, scientists C at the entry level positions involving normally direct research tasks, whereas scientist D could involve in the leading projects, supervising different teams, and more administrative duties. Then we are having the career progression. Similar, slowly we progresses and we are having the different kind of promotions and we upgraded into the different positions. This is on the basis of positions. If you are talking about the different type of laboratory scientists that works through the different labs like chemical, pharmaceutical, biological, and other labs, uh, there we are having analytical chemist, research and developmental scientist, molecular biologist, geologist, microbiologist, biochemist, clinical biochemist, embryologist. Different fields are there. So these are also scientists. These are the clinical scientists.
Okay.
So you can define in two different terms. Like one is those who are mainly work associated with the labs, working in the labs, and second those who are associated not only in the labs but also the administrative positions.
Okay. So without knowledge of laboratory also, we can become a scientist, right, sir?
Yes, yes,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
And like, what do you believe the most important skills a young scientist aspirator need to have? These are like crucial. Wherever you go, you should have this, like this type of skills.
So normally, to become a scientist, normally a person or a student should have curiosity. That is the most important skill. Which is, and when you are talking about the scientist, you should be specialized in a specific. You should have a special skills. That is a specific skill in a specific field, so that you will call in the scientist in this area or that area. Uh, then analytical thinking means you should analyze any kind of problems. Then only first we have to understand the problem, then only we can try to solve it. So analytical skills, analytical thinking is another skill which a student should have. Then technical proficiency in the laboratory techniques or whatever you are call it. Data analysis process you should understand. Problem solving skills students must have. Additionally, a skill in the project management and another one important thing in the scientific community, collaborations. You should have a skill to collaborate because
Yes.
collaboration everywhere you require, not only in this 2% scientist, especially in the projects also, papers also, writing skills also. So everywhere you require a collaborations.
So interdisciplinary communications are required.
Obviously,
Okay.
obviously.
Okay, sir. And I would like to also know, like, we have done a little survey before taking this. We need this opportunity to be reached out to everyone. So one of the most popular questions is like, can a student after graduation directly and can become a scientist or not? This was the question. So recently for
Uh,
founders, they have released an ICMR, like you can become a scientist even though if you're a fresher. So I think this might be the question resource offered.
huh. Huh. If we are talking whatever, normally we are thinking about the scientists, those who are working in the labs or working in a specific field. For that one, normally graduation is not sufficient. But
Okay.
for administrative positions, like whatever we have talked about, scientist C, scientist D, there it might be depending on the requirement about the job profile, it can be uh, applicable. But when we are talking about the specialized scientists who are working in a specific area, specific skills, their graduation is not sufficient. So a student cannot typically become a lab scientist or laboratory-based scientist immediately after their graduations. This normally involves a further education and hands-on experiences in a specific field. So after obtaining their bachelor's degree, graduation degree, they should have master's degree. Plus, additionally, they can have PhD, postdoctoral in the specific field. So slowly they can progress it. Postdoctoral fellowship or research assistant positions also help them to understand better in their uh, field or skills.
Okay.
So this is the how a person can be scientist.
So a graduate also can become a scientist, but if
Yes,
you want
yeah,
to specialize like in your area of interest, then you have to wait for your type of
uh,
degrees, right, sir?
yeah. Anyone who works in a scientific area are scientists.
Okay. It's great, sir. It's a positive response. Thank you very much. And the other most question which is popped is like, what is the most known thing which like let's say like this is a pressurized thing, but there is no current investigation done. But if done, it will become like say, like what do you believe are the most pressing and unanswered questions in clinical research which requires further investigation? Those areas. Can you mention those areas, sir?
Can you repeat your questions?
Yeah, like what are the
Means
most
the unsolved questions you are asking, right?
yeah, unsolved questions.
Uh, Normally, when we are talking about the clinical research, especially there we are having number of disease, their molecular basis, pathophysiology, pathogenesis, especially diagnosis. Because for when we are talking about the clinical biology or clinical research, there normally we are talking about the disease, any kind of either it will be metabolic disease or the communicable disease, non-communicable disease, any kind of disease. Treatment depends on the diagnosis. So if you're having proper diagnosis, so a lot of things need to be done in number of diseases, like if you take malaria, one of the oldest disease, but still we don't have a proper vaccine, uh, or different other disease also. So diagnostic tools, diagnostic methods. And nowadays, we are talking about the personalized medicine also. That is also a very specific things because every human's body, their biochemistry, their physiology, in the same family, when twins are there, their biological systems are different. They work differently. So the personalized medicine is one of the very
Yeah,
good
sir.
area. Then antibiotic resistance we are talking because WHO have a lot of focuses on the antibiotic resistance. Uh, that is one of the very unsolved. Uh, then you can call it metabolic engineering. You can call it.
Okay.
So these are some of the area where means student can focus.
Okay. Okay, sir. And like I have seen your publications list from articles, chapters, books, and you also have a professor role, and you're also being or like laboratory works, all this stuff. So this requires, I think you will be having lot of pressure. And how do you all this handle this pressure, sir? Do you follow like any type of suggestions for this?
Say everyone is having 24 hours only. No one is having 25th hours. And
Yeah.
so how you are going to manage your time span, that accordingly you can have different skills like I am not only the professor, I'm a family man also. I'm having family also. I'm having kids also. Uh, so we are also having some kind of mental blockages, some kind of engagements. So normally we should have some kind of take break. Means whatever you are doing, it's don't take pressure for anything. Uh, Slowly and steady can win the race. So take a break between the work, setting a small achievable goals, whatever you are doing, wherever you are doing. So a small goals, fragment your goals, pieces, and then
Okay, sir.
later on you can be uh, discuss your challenge. If you're not able to find answer for any kind of challenges, you can discuss with your family, discuss with your colleagues. Uh, so from means anyone can give you any kind of suggestions and free to talk to your colleagues. Uh, Everywhere, uh, discuss, talk, and every time please welcome the suggestions, accept
Okay.
everyone's suggestions
Okay, sir.
because whose suggestion can work, you don't know.
We might not know.
Yes,
And like I would also like to know like we require research requires huge amount of funds as well. So how do we like how do we
yes.
navigate this fund objectives, like whether for this project the funding will be getting or not? How do we evaluate this, sir?
So normally for funding, we are having two different kind of fundings we are getting, either from the government sources and non-government sources. And then sometimes your organization also supports you. So that is in the form of seed money or in this kind type of preliminary grants for setting up labs we are getting. But what we are talking about the actual funds from the government and non-government sources, that is actual funds normally we are talking about. So there we have to write the research grant projects. And
Okay.
because today in these days, so many too much competitions are there, because if you'll see any kind of calls, whatever we are getting from DST, DBT, ICMR, lot of grants has been submitted by different organizations, different, because everyone is having pressure, everyone need to get funds for their work. So obviously your project should be very competitive. It should have the very focused objective and
Okay.
achievable goals. Don't overcommit in your objectives.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
it should be achievable, and commit only those things which can be possible. Uh, mm, uh, Along with that one, research grant success also depends on your publication in that specific area. Because if I'm working on diabetes and I will submit the project on the cancer, certainly it will have very less chances.
Okay.
So whenever we are either I will have publication in those area, or I should have experience in those area, or my co-PI will might have the experiences. Someone should have experience in those specific area. So project writing is one of the important skills, how you are explaining your objective, because you have to uh, justify your project to the funders. Then only they will give you the funds.
Yes,
So
yes.
the commitment and the what how you are going to achieve it, that is important to
Okay.
obtain the funds.
Okay. And we like research is a ever evolving landscape. So what do you think a young scientist should focus on in this ever evolving landscape, sir?
Uh, Lot of things are there. Means first, every time I should be ready to learn from
Okay.
wherever it will be possible, wherever it will be possible, because number of things I don't know. So I try to learn from the YouTube, from my colleagues, from anyone, even my administrative staffs. I'm asking number of things to teach me a number of things. So every time I should be ready to learn from anywhere, wherever it will be possible, and be polite,
Okay.
uh, accept everything, read as much as you can, then
Okay.
try to understand your focus area,
Okay,
because
sir.
everywhere I have to justify. Either I'm writing a project, writing a paper, either if I'm writing a project, I have to justify the funders. If I'm writing a publications, I have to justify the reviewers. So understand your things, understand your skills.
Okay. And moving ahead, we are like close to the closing of the interview. And the what will be the your first and foremost advice, like advice for the upcoming young researchers, sir? Like what are the
Uh,
common pitfalls to avoid during their early research stages?
First and most thing is be curious.
Okay.
Try to ask questions as much as either from yourself or from your teachers, mentor, colleagues. So be curious. That's continuous learning. What I have told several times, and seek mentorships from anywhere. Don't be hesitant for that one.
Okay.
Neither for the asking questions nor to learn anything. Uh, Again, whenever you are writing, I don't overcommit to your guides, also don't overcommit to your teacher, don't overcommit to your mentors. uh, Neglecting work life balances, and understanding the importance of networking, developing resilience in the learning from the failures are also important aspects. So
Okay.
don't be afraid of the failures. Those who will run, they only fall down. So if you will not run, you will not fall down. So
Okay.
try to take risks also.
Okay, sir. And it's like a seamless process you have explained your total journey you have explained to very like very beautifully for the upcoming researchers, sir. We had this privilege to talk with you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Sati. Thank you. It was nice talking to you.